Great looking crowd this morning. Good to see everybody. I'm Don Hewitt, president of the Colerain Township Business Association. And I'd like to start off with Reverend James Love leading us in prayer.
You're going to do pledges first, aren't you?
Because I'm going to get started.
All righty. You know, there are certain days in all of our lives, points of where things change. Might have been your marriage in our country. You might think of Pearl Harbor, many different days. This is 9/11. 14 years ago, it was a point of change. Reminds us who we are. Sometimes reminds us of who we're not. Today is a day where we commemorate those memories. We want to start this day by asking God's blessing upon it, as well as for his provision today. So let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for what we have. We are a blessed people. We live in a nation of great freedom, great prosperity. Lord, and people are doing their best to get what we have. We thank you for the freedom. We thank you for the breath. We thank you for the way you provide. Today, as we will take time and we will reflect upon this day, a day that changed the very focus of who we are in America. Lord, may we also give our heart of gratitude to those that gave the last full measure of devotion to do their duty, to do their service for their fellow human American, and do what they could. May we be of such quality and character today. We ask your blessing upon the rest of the day. We thank you for the food that you provided. We know all bounty comes from you. We thank you for the hands that provided it and cooked it. May our time together be sweet, and may our hearts unite in a common cause. In the name of our Savior, amen.
Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, looks like we got a full house today. So if everybody can start making their way through line, and we'll get the awards presentation started very shortly. We're going to go ahead and get the presentation started. Can everybody hear me? Good. All right. Great to see everybody. This is an outstanding turnout. It is so wonderful to see family come out for these presentations, so appreciate the wonderful response. How was breakfast? Good. All right, guys, so just some housekeeping items before we get started. You know, you've heard us say it before. I have to say it again. The business community holds you guys in such tremendous high regard. We respect, love what you do in the community. You're consistent, and you know, you've brought us to deserve the best, because that's what we get every day. So thank you for everything you do. John Stalen from the Stalen Meats, where's John? Where is he? In the back, was gracious enough to donate your breakfast foods this morning, so thank you to John. Okay. Always humble. As well as I'd like to thank all the volunteers who showed up here very early this morning. Thanks everybody for coming out to help. A couple meetings coming up for the Business Association. Everybody's welcome to join us. Next week, we're having a dinner at the Vincolette Winery out on Old Colerain. $35, all inclusive, includes gratuity. It's a fun night out. Weather is starting to look favorable for that type of venue. So there's flyers on your table for that if you can join us. And October 9th, we're having a Meet the Candidates Forum, and that's an opportunity. That's going to be here, I believe. Compton Road Center. Okay, so the Northwest Compton. Houston Road Conference Center. All right, hopefully I'll get this right. All right, guys, well, this day's about you, so we want to get this kicked off. We're going to start with getting Chief Bruce Smith up to do the presentation for Colerain Fire. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you, Don. And just a word before we get started with the presentation. It can be frustrating for those of us in the fire EMS business and our police friends these days because there are people out there that don't value what our people do. Unfortunately, it's a vocal number of folks, but you can rest assured that the great majority of the citizens in this country appreciate what police officers do every day and what firefighter EMTs and paramedics do every day. I'd just like to say thank you to the Colerain Business Association because they never forget. They never forget us. Every year they're calling us together to thank our folks for what they do day in and day out. They're showing the appreciation that I think most people in this community, in this country have for our folks. So thank you to the Business Association for thinking about us. We're going to call up a few folks in a minute. I'd like to read a summary, though, of the actions that they're being recognized for today. As a fire department, when we arrive at a scene of a building fire, we almost always go to work with the assumption that the building is occupied until it's determined otherwise. Therefore, when a firefighter begins his or her initial fire training, they're extensively trained on the techniques of how to systematically search a smoke-filled environment for endangered victims and the methods for removing them to safety. On the morning of May 17th at 04:17 a.m., Colerain Fire and EMS was dispatched to a structure fire at the Woodgrove Apartments on West Galbraith Road. First arriving fire companies found heavy smoke conditions on the third floor. Crews from Engine 26 and Ladder 25 advanced a hose line to the fire floor and began their systematic search of the involved apartment unit with a thermal imaging camera. During their search of the apartment, firefighters found an unconscious adult victim on the floor. The victim was removed to the hallway and down the steps to awaiting paramedics for medical treatment and transport to a medical facility. These actions not only saved the life of Colerain resident, but also reflect the highest traditions and dedication and service by Colerain Township's emergency service providers. In addition, it's a direct reflection on the level of training that Colerain firefighters receive and the execution of their knowledge, skills, and duties. In recognition of their actions on the morning of May 17th, the following are presented with the Colerain Township Business Association Award along with the department's outstanding unit citation for their demonstrated duties and professionalism. So at this time, I'd like to call these individuals up: Captain Steve Kahn, Lieutenant Steve Hammonds, Firefighter Tim Michael, Firefighter Zach Hardesty, Firefighter Bruce Metzler, Firefighter Joe Plackey, Firefighter Doug Ruey, and Firefighter Jay Schneider. And I know that Steve Hammonds could not be here today because he has some family matters to take care of, and I think Tim Michael is at a wedding. But we'd like to personally thank these gentlemen. I'd also like to say, I'd be remiss in not saying, this crew did their duty and rescued a citizen from peril. The individual certainly would have passed away had it not been for their quick and effective actions. But every time we respond to structure fires, the crews that are there go through these same measures to make sure that people are safe. In this case, the training and the dedication to duty and the ability to carry out what they've been trained to do resulted in one of our citizens that is alive today as a result of what these folks did. So thank you for your dedication, for knowing your job, for knowing how to do it, for doing it safely so that you can go home to your families, but most importantly, putting the citizens of this community first. Thank you.
would like to hear Captain Khan speak?
I'll say a few things. I do like to talk. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
That's what we love about you.
Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the guys up here, we want to thank the Business Association for the recognition and our fire department administration. Sorry about this. We do a lot of training every day, and this is why we train. I've been doing this job for 28 years and have never gotten to do something like this. And I thank the guys because we are so well trained and we do the job safely, and these guys know the job so well. And it's a testament to the administration that they provide these types of services to our guys to get this type of training. And this is why we do what we do, to save people. And I'm glad we could be there. Thanks. By the way, I don't like J.R. Robinson anymore for yelling that. Thank you.
It is amazing what these guys do, and it's very emotional whether they're on a medical call or they're in a structure fire or some other type of event. It can be very emotional sometimes when you're able to do what you've been trained to do. And sometimes there are tragedies that we just can't change. But it's great knowing that we have such an outstanding group, almost 160 people that are highly trained and dedicated just like this group. So we've got a lot to be proud of. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wow, that was great, wasn't it? Just a little heads up, 8:46 this morning, we're going to observe a moment of silence. So if we pause in the middle of next presentation, I'm not picking on you, Mark. It's just the way it works out. That's right. So I want to welcome up now Chief Mark Denny, Chief of Police. Come on up.
Good morning. Thanks, Don. First, I want to thank the Colerain Township Business Association. Every year you give us this opportunity to recognize our people for the great things they do for our community. And we say thanks every year, but we really mean it. Thank you very much for taking that time to recognize us. And I echo Chief Smith's comments earlier. Thank you. When Tom and Linda approached me and asked for a nomination for this morning's award, being my first one as a chief, it was a really important one to me. I wanted to make sure it was meaningful. When we decide who gets these awards, we tend to look back over that previous year of rare, outstanding, uncommon events that happened to make that selection. But rare and outstanding events don't make an organization great. While they're very important, what makes an organization great is commitment and dedication for a long period of time. Mark and Angela Meyer have been the backbone of our police department longer than some of our officers have even been alive. Sorry about that. In fact, I met Mark when I was 17 years old. I worked at Kroger, and Mark came in to arrest a shoplifter. And I remember being impressed by his attitude, his professionalism, his commitment, and his appearance. And I'll tell you, in 26 years, that hasn't changed a bit. He is still the same outstanding officer he was then. Angela was one of the first officers that welcomed me to the police department. She made sure I had my uniforms and my equipment, and that I knew who to talk to, when to talk to them, when to be there. And she's done that for countless officers, and it's not because that's her job, because it's really not. It's because she cares. It's a family, and she's the first one to step up and make sure that everybody feels welcome to our family. In the quarter century since Mark and Angela joined the police department, that's the last time I'll do that to you. We've grown tremendously. The one constant that we've always had is Mark and Angela. If there was an important decision to be made, Mark and Angela were there. If we had an important event, Mark and Angela were there. And if we needed somebody to step up to make sure we succeeded, Again, Mark and Angela were there. In 2013, when we took over investigations from the Sheriff's Department, we needed to succeed. We needed to make sure we hit this thing out of the ballpark. So I needed somebody. We needed somebody that had experience and skill and could do that. And Mark Meyer stepped up. He parked his motorcycle extremely reluctantly, put his ticket book to the side, because he understood that the success of the police department was the most important part. To Angela, if you ask the 600 plus members of our Citizens Academy, and I challenge you to go out in the community, a good portion of our community, Angela's the face of the township. She's worked tirelessly to make connections and relationships throughout her years here, and it's really helped us tremendously. The goal of any good police officer is to retire and leave a legacy, something that other officers can look back on and know the things you did, and things that you can look back on and have some pride in what you did and how you served your organization. And I think by any measure at all, Mark and Angela have met that goal. So I know Director Malloy would like to step up. He has a few words as well.
Thank you, Chief. This is a tough one. I'll be very honest with you. Time goes a lot faster than you really believe it is going on, because you're living it and you don't understand that as days go by, you're getting older and you're getting farther along in your career, and there's going to be a day when someone says it's time to go. I appreciate the Chief giving me a couple of minutes, because these folks, you need to understand how far this organization has come. This department was disbanded in 1986. Mark was the second police officer hired under the new restructure to work along with Andy Demaropoulos and Bob Neely, Jeff Larsh, and Bob Walker. That's 4 people. That's 6 people. Angela was the 11th officer. We now have more than 50 officers. The service that we provide to the community is outstanding. The quality and the commitment, as the Chief already said it, there's a difference. And the difference is evident every day in Colerain Township because of the commitment that people make, but they see it evolved and example to them by Mark and Angela. I was just sitting here writing down all the officers that have started and worked here and left during the tenure of Mark and Angela. 27 different officers came here, worked here, left, and went on to private industry, other jobs, or whatever the case may be. They made the decision to leave. There was even a time in 1999 to 2001 that over half the police department left. Why? Because of lack of vision, lack of leadership. They decided to stay. Why did they stay? Did they know that what was going to occur in 2010, 12, 14 was what was going to happen? There's no way that they knew that. But they did. They made a commitment. Why? They committed to this community. They both grew up here. They grew up in Northbrook. Both graduated from Colerain High School. Their families lived here. They raised their children and their families here. They believe in it. In more than 26 plus years, they've worked over 55,000 hours that were paid. They've each probably worked that much on their own. They did whatever it took to move the organization forward. And as the Chief said, Mark reluctantly parked that motorcycle. But he did what was in the best interest of the organization, because the organization has to win. It has to win every time. And you win with great people. You know, what do I remember about Mark and Angela? I remember when I was young, and I remember coming in home on Friday nights from the academy up in Columbus. My wife was in college. She worked at Ruby Tuesdays every Friday night to make us some money. And I'd get home from the academy, and I'd go straight to the PD, and Mark Meyer riding second shift, and I'd go out and ride. I remember riding up US 27 when it wasn't open, and there's a whole lot of you that don't remember that, running code 3. We just got lunch. Mark's trying to eat, drive code 3. I'm handing him his sandwich. I'm handing him his drink. I'm handing him his sandwich. I'm handing him his drink. And we get there, we handle it, we move on. We used to challenge each other every year who was going to get the first arrest of the year, every New Year's. Because there was a group of us, and I'm going to use 2 terms that jump out at me when I was sitting here thinking of the Crime Busters and the Turtles. And again, these young guys are going, what the heck are you talking about? We used to challenge, there was 4 people on a squad, that was it. and one chief. There were 3 squads. There was 12 people. We challenged ourselves to be excellent every day. As we've evolved over the last 25 years as an organization, we knew we were good 25 years ago. We were cocky. We were young. But you know what? These guys were good. They made things happen. They challenged us. They challenged each other. Mark was the boss. We had one sergeant, and that was it. We had Andy, we had Mark Meyer, we had Angela, and we pushed forward. And Andy stayed, Mark stayed, Angela stayed, Denny stayed, Steve stayed, Chris stayed, Matt stayed, and we are better as an organization and a community because these people chose to commit themselves to Colerain Township, this police department, and the 60,000 residents and business owners that live here and work here. This is a sad day, I can't tell you, because first and foremost, I'm losing 2 great friends. They were in my front yard at 4 o'clock in the morning when my wife called me and said, I'm having this baby, you better get here and do something about it. And Mark and Angela and Denny and I were all working that night, and we drove to my house on Rocker Drive, and I was trying to get my wife out to the car. Mark and Denny and Angela chasing my cat around the front yard who got out the front yard. So, you know, there's a special place we have in all of our hearts for the things that occur in our lifetimes, and these 2 people are fantastic representatives for this township, fantastic representatives for this police department, but they are first and foremost fantastic people. And I can't even look at them because it's just tough, and it's going to be a sad day, and I don't think we're all going to realize, just as any organization sees transition, that when it's time for them to go, is it 8:46?
Let's please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you.
I'll wrap this up. But in the history of this whole police department, you know, we lost our first officer in 1915 at the hands of another who chose to murder that constable. We never had an officer retire until Andy Demaropoulos retired. 36 years. Carl Altheim retired. Mark and Ange. In all the history of this police department, they're the 3rd and 4th officer to ever retire from this police department. That is a huge deal, and it sets the message and it sets the tone for every police officer that works in this organization, for this community, that there is an opportunity to be great and be great here. And I just want to say, we're going to miss them. We're going to miss you guys, and I'm going to miss you myself. So I would just ask you to stand up with me and applaud everything that they've done for us.
In addition to the plaques, we're going to start a tradition. We're going to honor a brick in the new Township Memorial to each of our officers that receive these awards, and Mark and Angela will be the first to receive those bricks. So, nice addition there up here if you'd like to take a look. Thank you.
You sure you don't want to talk? Yeah. Well, I didn't bring my glasses. I said I was old.
The Colerain Township Business Association would like to honor you and express our appreciation for your service and dedication to the Colerain Township community. The residents, the businesses, and schools, the accident victims, and the creation of the CRC substation, and the many functions and beneficiaries it serves are now better because of your great work in the community. Your incredible police skills, vision, leadership, and your caring heart to serve Colerain Township have led the police department to be recognized as a great organization at the top of its class regionally and nationally.
Mine has one more sentence, and mine says, "And thanks for putting up with Mark for all these years."
Well, we'd both like to thank everybody. It's been a great ride. We go up next week to probably finalize our paperwork, unless we change our minds, which I don't see happening. But, I look out over all these people that I've known for so many years, and I've watched, like Dan was saying and Mark was saying, I watched everybody grow up. I came here when I was 26 years old. I'm like 68 now, I think. I'm not sure. And I watch all the young guys that started, including Dan, including Mark, and watch them aspire to be the chiefs and lieutenants and sergeants and whatnot, and great investigators. And it makes Angie and I really, really proud because we did stick it out. Like Dan said, we are both from the Brook, so you can aspire to be more than from the Brook, I guess. But when we started here, after the disbandment in '86 and started up new, it was a unique opportunity for us to write the pages of our own history, where most police departments and fire departments in any business, you start up and you're not at the very beginning. And I think what we've created here is a very well-rounded and professional police department. And that's something that Angie and I have always strived, putting the department before ourselves, the hours that we put in, and a lot of that has to do with us both working for the police department at the same time, bounce things off of each other and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun, but it's time to hang up the gun belt, so to speak, which is kind of hard to do. It's all I've known all my life, most of my life anyway. It's probably the hardest thing, the decision that we've made to retire is probably one of the hardest decisions that we've ever made. But there's always other things to do, and as long as you focus on other things, and you'll manage this bump in the road, so to speak. Like I said, I look out through the room, I see everybody that I've known for all these years, a lot less hair, a lot grayer hair, and I can't wait to come back someday and see all these young guys with no hair and gray hair and whatnot. I know we both like to thank our... Are you going to interrupt me? You want to? You want to talk? Nope. She was going to interrupt me. Our family's here, most of our family here. Some of them couldn't get off of work. Our daughter's got a little 2-year-old that's really sick right now, so she couldn't come. Our parents are still here. My parents still live in the Brook. Bill and Bertie used to run the church there on Hyannis. Anybody familiar with that? He was a reverend there for many, many, many years, so they're all here. We couldn't have done a lot of this without them, because when you raise 5 children between us, sometimes it's tough and you got to rely on your parents, especially with working the shift work that we worked for all those years and whatnot. So we relied a lot on our parents to get us through this. Now we're grandparents, so they rely on us, I hope. But anyway, that's all I got to say. I thank everybody, and we're not going too far away. So, Angie, got anything to say? Who wants to see Angie talk? Not even a thank you? Okay.
Thank you.
I like,
Oh, I'm sorry, I was remiss. The bricks, we decided to, and between the fire and police department, we purchased over 77, we purchased 77 bricks. We went back and looked at all the honorees from the Colerain Township Business Association over the years and any other special awards that our firefighters and police officers have received. The fire department went back to 94 and the police department went back to 97. And this year's honorees are included in those 77 bricks. All the fire awardees today will receive an individual brick that denotes their award, as well as past winners, and those will all be installed probably in the next week at the memorial wall with underneath the police department as well as the fire department motto and creed. And future winners and things of that will be recognized in the same manner. So anyone, like I said, 77 honorees will be installed in the memorial walk, and as a way to honor our heroes and in a lasting way. And we think that this is a simple way and a great way to recognize the commitment from the CTBA, as well as the service that our firefighters and police officers provide to us as a community. And we just, again, we think that, you know, these heroes deserve to be recognized and they deserve to be commended for the things that they give to us every single day. So to all our honorees and to the CTBA, thank you very much. We appreciate this day. It's sad that we have to come together to say thank you, but we also appreciate the fact that we can make it special with our families and with our friends. So thank you again and congratulations to everyone.
I don't know how you finish up after that. That was outstanding. My family looks at the Myers as not police officers, but friends. You know, friends don't give friends tickets, so, which is good, right? But again, thank you so much for everybody coming out. The CTBA, again, greatly appreciates, you know, what you do in the community day in, day out, the consistency, the loyalty, and look forward to great things this year. Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.